How's everyone doing? My brothers and sisters who are so capable of awesomeness. Yeah, I'm Michelle, and I'm going to be reading from 101 Proofs for the Existence of God. And this book was written by Jim Stevens. All right. So I'm going to be reading chapter 61, and it is called Muscles. Okay, let's get into it. If you are a fan of any sport, I'm sure you are amazed by what human beings can do, how strong and how fast they are, and how coordinated they can move is astounding. It is almost incomprehensible that their eyes can see a ball moving over 100 miles an hour and through the brain coordinate their arms, legs, and hands to catch or hit that ball with precision. Also, I'm sure you know that many animals are capable of feats that humans cannot begin to duplicate. All of these movements are accomplished by specialized cells called muscles. If you do an internet search for evolution of muscles, you will come up with almost nothing. The articles have totally speculative statements or are just a description of a supposed sequence of development, but there is no explanation. If they are honest, they will admit they have no idea of the origins of muscles. For example, the structure and function of vertebrae striated muscle, which can be contracted at will, has been studied in detail, but its evolutionary history remains obscure. Here is another. While the structure and function of muscles, especially of vertebrae, have been intensively studied, the evolutionary origin of smooth and striated muscles has so far been enigmatic. Even Wikipedia, which is pro evolution, admits this with a disclaimer at the top. This article has multiple issues. My goodness. The tiniest movement we make, like the jitter of each eye over 30 times a second. And Jim says, please see chapter proof for the existence of God, number 45, where he talks about the eye. Like every beat of your heart, like large jumps with your legs, are all accomplished by many muscles. Every time your mind wants your body to do something, it calls on specific muscles to accomplish it. Not only movements, but our minds have so many emotions they need to be able to express. So our faces are designed with all the muscles we need for that. Why would all those facial expressions we can make be necessary in order to be the fittest to survive, to be the fittest to survive, as evolutionists claim? I like this description. Jim says he likes this description from howstuffworks.com. Because muscles are so crucial to any animal, they are incredibly sophisticated. They are efficient at turning fuel into motion. They are long lasting, they are self healing, and they are able to grow stronger with each practice. They do everything from allowing us to walk to keeping our blood flowing. Many things inside your body happen automatically to keep you alive, but they happen without you having to think about it. Muscles move your food down your esophagus, through your stomach and intestines, and all the way out Your lungs suck in air. Your heart beats almost every second. This is all done by muscles. Wikipedia has a list of 642 skeletal muscles, which are the ones controlled by our consciousness. And the list includes their location in the body and their purpose. But some other sources may count muscles differently, and they come up with as many as 850. Muscles exist in 320 pairs. According to Wikipedia sources, almost every muscle constitutes one part of a pair of identical bilateral muscles found on both sides, and etc. Jim says, now remember this point. It will become important later. So we have three different types of muscles. The first kind are skeletal muscles. They're also called voluntary, are ones which can be controlled by our mind. These are the 642 mentioned above. The second groups are smooth muscles, or involuntary. They're ones which we cannot control. They are contained in our digestive system of the esophagus, our stomach, and our intestines, in our blood vessels, in our bladder, and our bronchi, our lungs, our erector pili, our skin, and in females, the uterus for childbirth. The third group is cardiac muscle, and this is found only in the heart, and it's very unique. The cells are specially designed and connected so they can all contract at the same time at the command of cells called pacemaker cells in the heart. 42% of a man's body mass is muscle. For women, it is 36%. While we are on the subject, it could be noted that men and women have many differences in their muscle systems, particularly in the reproductive area. If you want some fascinating reading sometime, check out how the uterus works. The skeletal muscles can be further subdivided into slow twitch or fast twitch muscles. The slow twitch muscles contract for a long time, but with a little bit of force. The fast twitch muscles can contract rapidly and with strong force. The fast twitch muscles are even subdivided into three more categories. Muscles are made up of many, many muscle cells which are arranged together in bundles inside a sheath called a sarcolemma. Furthermore, many of these sheaths are again bound together in a large bundle which is surrounded by another sheath called a fascicle. Then again, many fascicles are bound together in another sheath called an epimysium. 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 This reminds me of the steel cables used to make the Golden Gate Bridge. This design gives amazing strength. Inside every muscle, there are numerous arteries and veins to bring blood with oxygen and nutrition and carry away waste products. There are also many nerve endings coming all the way from the brain that initiate contractions. There are also many mitochondria in the cells to process oxygen, fats, and carbohydrates as fuel for our energy. The whole process of chemical reactions and how a muscle is able to contract and relax is super complicated, and it's over my head. But you can research the details yourself if you're interested. Common sense will tell you that our muscles were designed by a super intelligence. The abilities of man made robots are minuscule in comparison. Wow. Remember, I noted that muscles all come in pairs. If you put your arm out, you need a complementary muscle to pull it back. If you look up, you need a complementary muscle to pull your eyes back down. If you step forward, you need a complementary muscle to keep you from falling over. If there is no God, and all muscles came about by accident or mutation, and natural selection, how can you account for complementary pairs of muscles? Mutation would have to guess right 340 times. Suppose you evolve a muscle, which isn't easy, that will move your arm out. What good is that? How many generations will it take with all people having their arms hanging out until some individual evolves a muscle to bring his arm back in? If it's a man, he has to wait for a woman to also evolve that same muscle to pull in her arm, find her, marry her, and have children. Then they become the Adam and Eve for all mankind because we all have both those muscles. All the people without both those muscles have died out. Oops, oops. I almost forgot that we have to repeat that process 339 more times to account for all the other muscle pairs in our bodies. And that's just the voluntary muscles. How we could possibly evolve the cardiac and involuntary muscles is still not accounted for. Remember, evolving a muscle is not going to be simple. You have got to also evolve the nerves, which are connected to the brain, and arteries and veins connected to the heart inside the muscle, and then surround it all with 3 layers of sheathing. Wow. You also have to evolve the tendons to connect the muscles to your bones. This is not even in the realm of possibility, right? Natural selection would theoretically prevent the evolution of muscle pairs. Anyway, survival of the fittest would eliminate single muscles before their complementary muscle could evolve. You can't close your eyes and not be able to open them. If you stick out your arm and you can't bring it back, you would not be one of the fittest that could survive. I've already discussed in other chapters, Jim says, the explanations of how mutation, chapter 27, and natural selection, chapter 35, have never been shown to be processes that can produce new species. So too, they are not processes that can even begin to explain how muscles originated either. They cannot even begin. They cannot even begin to explain how muscles originated either. We discussed human muscle above, but every other species of mammal, fish, birds, insects have muscles as well. Most all of those muscles are in pairs. We're talking about several million species that would have had to evolve their own unique muscles to accommodate their unique skeletons. All those species also have hearts and involuntary muscles as well. Those would all have to evolve separately also inside every animal species. This is astronomically impossible. Think about involuntary muscles for just a minute. If evolution were true, then at some point, before our lungs worked automatically, we would have to think, breathe in, breathe out all the time. Ridiculous. Before our esophagus evolved to automatically push our food down, we would have to think about it. At what point, after many generations of evolution, did we have to stop telling our stomach to move the food along and our lungs start breathing on their own? Equally ridiculous. It was all in place from the beginning. Or we would have died out as a species. What about the cardiac muscle in the heart? How did that muscle accidentally evolve and just start beating? At what point did the arteries and veins get connected and then blood was created to move around the body or up to the lungs for oxygen and back again? The masterpiece of the human body is not the result of ad hoc, random additions over many generations. It was designed from the beginning. Okay. If you have some other ideas that are different than this, and then you have Jim's email address, you can email him, talk to him about it. He would love to hear from you. Yeah. So anyway, Jim concludes with, so there must be God. All right. That's amazing. All right. So we thank you so much, Jim, and for enlightening us, right? So now we have a newfound appreciation for every movement we make. Okay. Thank you so much. All right. I'll see you guys another time. Bye.